What's up, everyone? This is DYANAROZAY. Welcome to my channel. This is the official sister review for season 6B, episode 26. I called it Poetic Justice, and I'm going to tell you why. There was a running theme throughout this entire episode that had to do with a lot of stuff. We're going to get into it. Y'all know how we do, me and my sister. We like to break things down. But there's a running theme about counseling and therapy. They went back and picked up some things from a few seasons ago and reintroduced it to us. We're going to talk about that because that was a powerful scene. I don't think a lot of people paid attention to that. And what else was going on that we need to talk about? We'll get to it. Listen, we're going to talk about everything. But first, let me introduce you to my sister, Miss Clone. What up, yo?
Hello.
Hey, girl. Okay, so first we're going to talk about who got MVP for this episode. Who did you select for your Avi?
It's going to be the Whitlows this time around. So it's Tiffany. What's her husband's name?
Lewis.
And baby Ace is under the sling there.
Yep.
And we all know that they announced that this was going to be it for them. They're done.
They are done with Love and Marriage Huntsville.
Mm-hmm.
It's no more. It's not happening anymore. So yeah, so here we go with that. And I have decided to do an MVP. So my MVP for this episode is going to be Chris Jr. That is the Fletcher's son. And yeah, we'll talk about exactly why this was a powerful scene with him and his father. But yeah, y'all, what do you rate the episode?
I am coming in a little higher than I did when I watched it the first round through. I'm coming in at 8.75.
Okay. I am also giving it an 8 3/4. I don't know if I gave that on the live yesterday. If you guys missed the live, please watch it. It was very powerful. We took a walk down memory lane. We talked about a whole lot of stuff, but this is a thumbnail. Whitlow stay or Whitlow's go. Make sure you watch it. Great panel. A lot of people had excellent things to say, and the chat was straight up popping. So, start watching it, pick up the chat, and y'all get some gems, okay? But I give it an 8.75 as well. I thought also, like I said, there was a lot of things that production was giving us, and there was a lot of things that people missed yesterday. So when I watched it the second time, I saw it as well. We're going to start it with the exactly where we left off with Kiki and Tiffany. So I don't know if y'all noticed this. A lot of people, because Tiffany brought the baby, people were saying she brought the baby and she, was using the baby as a protection and da-da-da. Listen, Tiffany walked into this scene. This is a scene where her and Kiki are supposed to be trying to mend fences, right? They've had some, strong opinions about each other online. And they are at Stormy's house, and Stormy put this meeting together so that they can squash the beef, right? But Tiffany shows up in the scene with her hair tightly braided like she is Queen Latifah. Let's not ignore this. This is what you do when you are getting ready to pull your damn earrings out. You want to show up in the scene like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to expect. But Tiffany's whole thing is that Kiki doesn't know how to handle herself. That's the theme. She says it in this actual scene. So when everybody's like, she's running away, she doesn't know how to handle conflict. I heard Stormy say that, but she literally says, yeah, I don't fool with people who don't know how to handle themselves. And you have always come across as someone who doesn't. She said in the scene.
Yeah, she said, I would never make someone like that my friend.
I would never make that person my friend. To the point of where production is like, ding, 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 ding. Y'all know they love to give you a sound effect. And they give you the sound effect like, well, damn, didn't we hold this meeting so you could stop saying this? They give us the sound effect. And Stormy, I think she's eating fruit or cheese or something. She actually does a double take like, bitch, what did you just say? She's like, I asked you not to do that.
Right. She gave her a funny face like, listen, I'm warning you.
I'm warning you. Yes. She's like, didn't we talk about this?
Right. Dial it all the way back. Yeah.
Down and says it again in the scene.
Right.
Kiki is like, well, I want you to know that, yes, I can set it off. I get into a fight a lot. That's what Kiki says. She said, however, I don't start it. And so Tiffany's still looking at her with one eyebrow up, like, well, I don't give a damn if you started or not. Do you not know how to control yourself? But in her confessional, she's like, at this point, I just want to go home. I don't
I
know what the
just want to
hell's
go home. Yeah, she was very uninterested. Very uninterested.
I could be at home with my baby. This is not
Yeah,
what I was expecting. This conversation is
right.
not appealing to me. But now she's also doing the what do I want to call this? She's pacifying Kiki. She's not saying I trust you to do this and the other. She's just like, yeah, now that I see that you're here and you're willing to have a conversation,
Right.
I guess I'll give you the benefit of the
Yeah,
doubt.
she's super monotone and
Yes,
bland.
she's bland
Yeah,
as hell. She's not like, girl, okay, listen, I misread you. She's like,
right.
and to the point where when she says and I'm telling y'all, when she's like, I didn't misread you, there's a place where she says, how did she say it? Kiki says, you can ask anybody that's not Tisha and Marceau who I am as a person, and they will give you a different version. And Tiffany says, I promise you, I'm never going to ask anybody else about you. I'm never going to ask anybody who you are as a person. And Tiffany said, or excuse me, Kiki's like, no, really? And she said, I want you to know I'm never asking anybody who you are as a person. I'm never going to
Yeah,
do that. That's how uninterested I am as to who you are as a person.
right,
If you guys know office politics, she straight up gave her office politics, bitch, I don't care.
right. I
Okay?
I'm gonna tell you what I thought was just slightly disappointing for me.
What's that, girl? What's
So this is where I started off, and I was like, you know what? I could have given this a higher score, but I took a few points off because of this. And
Mhm,
and maybe it's how it's edited. I
mhm.
don't know if it's because of editing, but I actually thought Kiki was going to come stronger. So I was really looking forward to the scene. And one of the things that I really wanted to hear her kind of talk about was the fact that you had any negativity regarding my child. Oh, you're not in the right school district, or you're jumping turnstiles to get to your kid's game. Like, I would have been addressing that shit.
Facts. They made it about this interview, and there was so much more juicier things that was actually said
Yes.
as the audience. Like Melody did share that Tiffany was like, oh well, she did something fishy to get her kid out of the school district. That was juicy information that you
Mm-hmm.
want to say. Why did you bring my name up to Melody about this? Like, say that.
Why are you bringing my child up to
Why are you
Melody about
bringing
this?
my child
Yeah, don't keep my kids' names out your mouth.
up? Give
100% mom to mom. Don't do that to me.
give specifics about that damn Carlos King interview. What do you mean that I am jumping fences so that I don't have to pay the dollar? Like, I don't know. I didn't feel like Kiki ate in this scene. I don't think that it wasn't as fulfilling as it should have been.
Yes.
I did
Right.
get the impression
Yeah, it felt like it was dialed back to me. It
that
was dialed way back.
okay.
Yep.
Is there anything else you would like to add to this scene?
Just one more thing that I noticed when Kiki makes a statement, and it's something to the effect of, "I promise you that I'm not a person that causes a lot of conflict, or I don't have a lot of problems with people outside of my cousin. You're not going to hear anyone else say these words about me." The camera pans back over to Tiffany, and Tiffany's face is looking at her like,
Like
"BITCH, really?"
she does. She looks like I don't get this shit. I don't
Yeah, like, one, I
doesn't
don't believe
believe
you.
she
Right.
doesn't believe what she's saying.
Nope.
And not only does she not believe it, she wants the audience to know she's not interested in it.
Yeah, she just
But
did not care. So heart and soul, she was just like, "I'm done."
I'm done. And at this point, I don't know if it's because of the depression she may be feeling, but when people are like, oh, she brought the baby, Tiffany is so far removed from any type of fear of Kiki. She's not in fear of Kiki here. She's just, I don't care.
Mhm.
Which is even worse. She is so indifferent to Kiki. Indifferent at this point is worse than
Right, it's worse. Yep,
than actually having feelings of like or hate. She's completely indifferent.
right.
That is what I picked up in the scene.
Yeah,
So,
I could care less what happens to you, whatever.
facts. Okay, so let's move on to the next scene. We are talking Martell and Chris Fletcher.
Mm,
There were
mm,
so
mm,
many
mm.
gems in this scene from the second it starts.
Jeez Louise.
So, you guys, if you missed it, thank God for me. Okay, let's start. When Chris Fletcher, who was in charge of brokering the deal between Martell and the developers for Holt Manor, the multi-million-dollar deal that Chris Fletcher was helping Martell build them, 47 acres, all of it. Okay, this is what we need to know. When Chris Fletcher shows up at Martell's door for his new house, the one he's renting, Martell opens the door and Chris gives him a very hearty Holt Manor. Okay. Now, if that's not a jab, I don't know what is. He's basically
Mm,
saying in this moment, your whole life is shit because of your dumb choices.
right, because clearly where you are is not Holt Manor.
Where you are is not Holt Manor. Here you
Mm-mm.
are, another rental. It took you 8 months to get out the last rental.
Right,
Now it is all about how you are a failure of a person. So
right.
I don't know how dudes are with other dudes when they give you that. This is the I told you so without I told you so. Okay, Chris and Nell, who have mentored and counseled Martell and Melody throughout their relationship, trying to get that, throughout those last years of their relationship, trying to get them back on track. And we've heard the stories. Melody have said we've had our accountants, our financial advisors, our ministers, our friends, older people in our family, people who knew what was going on with Martell and knew he was failing me, my children, as a family, us as a family, us as a legacy, financially
Mm-hmm.
and otherwise. That was that moment, and he's just saying Holt Manor. Saying Holt Manor to Martell, period, should probably would send him crumbling, into a pile of ash.
Mm.
At this
Yeah.
point, Martell staying in Huntsville and just spinning the corner to see that development under someone else's name, that would have to rock you to your core, correct?
Right, right.
Every moment
Absolutely.
would dog you. But Chris says Holt Manor, and I was like, ooh, gut punch. That was my first thought. Ooh, gut punch, baby.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're in the kitchen. And they're, little
Yeah, with a
having
flexi conversation.
they have their little courtesy. How things going? Chris says, listen, my oldest daughter was at the house for dinner. Things went really left. Things were said. Martell makes a comment. Yeah, I understand. I mean, we say things, but there's a way to do it respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
Second blow,
Well, listen, how would Martell know about doing anything respectfully?
100.
He is always so concerned about people being respectful to him, but he doesn't know how to give it.
Ever.
You can't receive something that you're not willing to give yourself.
Never has, never will. Everything that he has done has been in public and disrespectful.
100%. And then he can't even acknowledge that he's been disrespectful.
Facts. So when he makes that comment, I'm like, oh, here we go, right? It's a setup scene, but it's a setup scene because again, if you have a little history with the show, then you know that you are talking to the one person who saw you fail in such
Right.
a way that he is looking at him like, I don't even know how to reel your ass in because there's nothing we can say here. It's hard to reel him in because you're looking at him like this man is just a lost cause at this
Right.
point. It's a lost
Yeah.
cause conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I heard you, speaking of disrespect, what the hell was going on between you and my wife? Like my wife told me you came over, you got loud, got crazy. Martell says, your wife is disrespectful. You know that. You know that your wife has a mouth on her, basically. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
man. I'm a man, baby.
Right.
She ain't supposed to talk. No woman's supposed to talk to a man.
No woman should be overly disrespectful to a man.
overly disrespectful to a man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like cocked head to the side. Was she being disrespectful or was she being honest?
Right. Or can you not handle the truth?
Can you not handle the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Martell said, no, she was being disrespectful for sure.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Exactly. It ain't me. It's
Right.
hers. Okay.
Right.
It's definitely her. So now Chris is sitting here, and I'm sure like there's a choo-choo train of thoughts running through his head because he's like, what is wrong with Martell?
Right.
Everything is wrong with them. But then, they talk about that for a couple of minutes. And Chris says, if ever there's a time that you think my wife is being disrespectful, you come to me. You're
Mm-hmm.
not to, have any type of interaction that I perceive as disrespect from you.
Right. And what does he say in return?
He
Oh,
said,
no, I would definitely come to you.
I would
If I
definitely,
felt like I was being disrespectful, I would have called you the very next day.
right. If I thought I was being disrespectful, I would have had some time to reflect and I would have gave you a call.
Right. But clearly, I was free and clear in that situation. It was all her.
Right.
She had no right bringing up my infidelity.
She had no right to bring up my infidelity. That's years
Uh-huh.
ago. You're talking about some shit that had over 13 decades ago or something like
Right. Exactly. I ain't slept around since. I
that.
ain't cheating on nobody or nothing.
Right. Right. Why does she keep bringing up these horrible thoughts that I can't get?
Right.
So yes, it's clearly moments where he's not getting over any of these things that he just feels if people just stop talking about it or bringing it up, I will be okay.
Right.
Chris is sitting across from this mess of a man, this
Mm-hmm.
person, and he's like, okay, okay. And he says, Martell continues, y'all only take Melody's side. Anything that your wife talks about is always her taking Melody's side. Like Melody hasn't had an affair. Like Melody hasn't done this. And when he's saying Melody, he's actually saying MelodyHolt. Melody
Mm-hmm.
Holt had an affair. MelodyHolt she's wrong too.
Mm-hmm.
And MelodyHolt with a question mark. Is it MelodyHolt now? And he goes, oh, right, right. She had that name change, right? You went to that. That was disrespectful too. She's Melody Rogers now. He went, whoa, she's always been a Rogers now. Like Rogers,
Right.
something new.
Right. It's not new.
It's not new. There's Team Rogers, there's Team Martell, and Nell and I are neutral. That's how he puts it.
Mm-hmm.
Nell and I are neutral. And Martell says in confessional that Melody taking her maiden name back is the last connection to him, and now it feels final. There's no more connection to him. And then
Except for his children. That's the weird part.
that
Like,
is
why would you ever say that if you've got 4 children by her with the last name Holt? They share your faces. They share your bloodline.
after he does all of that and makes that comment, he says, she's still trying to destroy me. Is him not taking responsibility for losing the multi-million-dollar deal that Chris himself said could have set you, your children, and your children's children up for life.
Oh.
He blames Melody. And he said this several times. Melody never had to tell the world that I had a baby on the way. That was supposed to stay a secret. That if she wouldn't have told anybody that, I would still have Holt Manor. I would be
Oh.
wealthy right now. Melody walked away from that relationship with no alimony, with no child support, with no nothing. And
Wow.
Bill feels like he should have still kept his wealth and moved on to the next with his money. And Chris is looking at him because if you've listened to Nell and Chris from season 6A, they've always maintained Martell messed up his life. He messed up his fortune. He messed up his life with his family for this girl. Nell constantly repeating, all that girl ever wanted was what Melody had. That's
Wow.
their thing. And Mel and Chris going on to Carlos King's show and saying it again there. They never agreed with Martell. But Martell says, She's trying to destroy me, and you know that. And Chris gives this like slow nod, like, you're still out of it, buddy. You still don't get, you messed it up. Because you know what the two of you should have done on your trips to the gym? You should have wrapped it up. Like the after school special tells you. Go on and wrap that up.
Right. Wrap it up, B. That's right.
Wrap it up, B. Exactly. And you wouldn't have had that problem. You know what your mistress could have done? She could have taken some birth control. Does she not know what birth control is? The fact that the two of you were so reckless and careless,
Mm-hmm.
whatever your little physical needs were, that you yourself didn't think about your fortune,
Right.
your legacy,
Exactly.
that you're still blaming it on Melody. And for the audience that's watching, we don't give a damn that you lost it at this point. We don't care.
30 seconds of pleasure. You lost a lifetime of fortune.
A lifetime of fortune because you didn't know how to handle yourself. That's
Mm-hmm.
how is a person with no self-control.
Oh God.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely disturbing. And it doesn't matter if it's the females or the males that watch it. My husband is always like, is that sucker still on? Like, you are dumb.
Right.
Dumb, sir.
Yeah.
So
you'll always be known for that. So regardless if you want people to mention the scarlet letter that's on your chest, people still see it.
People still see it. You don't ever have to mention it. It's there. It's blazing. It's on fire. You're
Exactly.
dumb. You're dumb. So that is the crazy part. And then every time we get these scenes of Melody's house, they're giving us a view from a drone showing the, listen, let's not ignore that this woman is sitting on the mountaintop.
Right. Yeah.
We're getting a aerial view of her
Mm-hmm.
house.
How's the air up there? Exactly.
Facts. It is something it's really like, if this is adult conversation and a adult thought, and if y'all are paying attention, y'all can see some of this stuff, but sometimes we get caught up in the emotion of it. But it's crazy, but it's interesting, and there's a lesson to be learned here. This is a wild ass, what do you call it, like a
cautionary tale.
Thank you, sis. Okay, I appreciate that. And then I don't know if y'all can see in the corner, in the very corner, there's like this little gold purse. Someone had pointed out that there was a bag on the table, and it's believed to be the baby mama. But all I have to say is this. We remember Sheree saying that Martell doesn't like to buy expensive bags. I think she had a Valentino or something. Her daughter pointed out, was like, you got a beautiful bag. Where'd you get that from? And Sheree lied and tried to make it seem like Martell bought it. Well, he was a surprise that he even got it because he doesn't like to buy expensive bags. Child, he still don't. You can best believe that's from the swap meet. And we need no further proof. We need no further proof than season 6A, episode 2, when Martell asked to walk Melody out. Check this out.
No, I'm like, stop playing. This your first. I'm literally in the front. That's my Versace. I'm right here in the front. I saw you parking across the street.
So her saying, that's my Versace, again, letting the audience know Martell's calling this a purse. This is not something he even knows about, okay? So in the next scene, we get Kimmy and Tisha. Ciao. Kimmy has set up some sort of Yanni session for her libido. She wants her and Tisha to sit over a pot of steam for various reasons. A lot of people did not like the scene, but Tisha tried to send a message, baby, in this. First, let's talk about this outfit that Tisha had on, okay? Starting with this, child. Look at Tisha's bottom. Tisha got on those 6-inch high heels. She has lifted that rear to look a certain way, and she wants people to know that she's fine.
Literally. I'm fine and I'm fine.
I'm fine and I'm fine.
Right.
She also wants people to know that her and Marceau are still having relations, okay?
That's right.
Pregnancy test had nothing to do with her thinking she was pregnant. And it had everything to do with her letting people know, despite the rumors that might be out there about Marceau and the makeup artist.
Right.
Makeup artist. We still getting down.
Right.
Well, in this scene, we get Tisha, who very, in a roundabout way, want the audience to know. She don't for 1 second believe she's pregnant, even if she's saying, I've been
No.
bitch, what?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with her being pregnant. It had everything to do with the fact that she needed to make everyone aware that her and her husband got it going on.
Well, we don't say going on, but they get it on. Okay.
Hey, listen, I'm talking from her brain, not ours. I'm saying they got it going on, and you guys can back all the way off. I totally agree.
In Marceau's words, wakey, shaky, oven bakey, Tisha. Right. She's letting people know that she thinks that she's the shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is Tisha saying to y'all, Marceau ain't going nowhere. Marceau isn't sleeping around with anybody. Look at all he has.
Right.
That's telling people.
And honestly, she should be thinking that way. Look at all he has. Okay. Keep thinking that way, Tisha. You know why? Because if you start thinking that way about your own marriage, you'll start thinking that way about someone else feeling that way about you. I'm just saying.
So she's doing all of that. And then we get another scene where she says, I've been going to a life coach. I've needed counseling. There's so much that's going on in my life right now with all the rumors.
Right.
With everything that's coming at me off of social media, because she's really talking about social media at this point, that I've had to go to a life coach and I am not being who I need to be to my children. I'm popping off on them. I had to ask my daughter, do you think mommy's yelling too much? And now I want to go back into my hermit life. I want to be a stay-at-home mom again.
Mm.
So that's what she's saying. And Kimmy's like, oh, okay. Well, why don't you just take baby steps as opposed to, stay-at-home mom thing? You probably won't be satisfied there either. But she's like, I don't know. I just feel like what's going on in my life right now is a lot. That's how she puts it. She's giving us the same argument she had given a couple of episodes back, where she said, listen, people are calling the city on us. Like,
right.
Stop. How real does this real need to be? So
right.
She's making this argument, and then she's also saying, I'm actually exhausted by it. I don't know how much I can take. She had made the admission that she had gone through a deep depression with Carlos King. She's kind of saying she may be back there. She's doing life coaching. And now Marceau, she doesn't know what to believe, because I don't know what to believe, because Marceau is now suggesting that we go to counseling.
What?
So she makes that conversation, has a secondary conversation with her about Kiki. Like, well, you're not showing up where you should be showing up either at this point. Because she says, listen, you left the filming that we all were doing, following you getting the water thrown in your face. So what more can I even offer to that scene? It was embarrassing. I won't talk about it anymore. She was like, well, you know that we're going to talk about it. That was the scene. We were actually brought here to talk about it. Secondly, Melody is under the impression that y'all haven't really squashed the beef, because when we had the exercise class after you left, Mel said, is Tisha okay? She tried to cut me off when we were doing the Black Expo meeting, the after meeting. She cut me off there, telling me that my opinion wasn't necessary or important. And now she's doing it again. And Tisha's like, I don't know why she would feel that way. We were good. So she is again not able to articulate her real feelings in the situation, because the truth of the matter is, all of this season, Tisha and Marceau have not discussed the cheating scene. They haven't discussed it on camera.
Yeah.
They haven't discussed it. They had the opportunity to discuss it when they were in the bedroom scene, and it was directly following the water in the face. Discuss it there. So Tisha right now is just being a lame on all accounts, and the audience is frustrated with watching it. But now she looks like she's trying to say, if I have a conversation about it, Marceau and I are going to be in a safer place with a mediator. We're going to do therapy. So we will see what of it if it's actually shown on television.
It probably won't be. It should be.
It should be,
but
but
it probably won't be.
she could just be pacifying people with, me and Marcel is going to therapy, but we don't see any parts of the therapy.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
But outside of that, she's saying that she is doing a life coach and some other things, while at the same time letting everybody know that she's way too fine to be concerned about Marceau cheating, even though Marceau cheating has been the running topic, their only storyline since season 1. Okay? So moving on to the next scene, it is Chris Jr. and Chris Sr.
Yeah. This is the scene that got me. I glossed over this one the first time.
Okay, go ahead. You start.
So I glossed over this the first time. So this is Junior coming in to see Dad, and he, Chris, basically says, like, I haven't seen you since the dinner, how you feeling about everything, and, Chris kind of begins with Lexi, and he's like, yeah, Lexi's Lexi, but, she'll come around. Chris asks him about himself. They do a little small talk up front about a warehouse or moving something out of a warehouse. And then you kind of get Chris Jr., whereas as Chris Sr. is, kind of poking around to ask questions and going, hey, what's going on? Why aren't you talking to your mom? And he's like, I haven't really talked to anybody, not just mom. I'm not talking to anybody. But what Chris basically says, Junior basically says here is, I'm feeling a little bit like a failure. And I kind of feel like every time I come around, you guys are throwing it in my face. I'm getting it from mom. I'm getting it from, is it Lance? I'm getting it from the older brother. The sisters think I'm crazy. And so Chris kind of interjects and says, well, look, if we're all kind of telling you this, then maybe there is a problem on your end. And Chris Jr. says, well, yeah, but I kind of feel like everybody has a problem. However, mine is always front and center. And I don't understand why that is. So as Chris kind of digs a little bit deeper, he finds out that every weekend, this kid in the middle of the night, between 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, is out and about on his own, and nobody knows what he's doing. He doesn't really admit to what he's doing here. But Chris says, hey, that sounds like a deep depression. And it dawned on me the second time that I watched it, why Chris started to cry. He's basically saying, like, hey, it sounds like you're in a place where you actually might do harm to yourself. And I want you to know that I am here for you. Anytime you're feeling down, anytime you're feeling any problems, I don't care what time of night or day it is, please call me. I've been in that place before. It is a very dangerous place to be in, but I want you to know that people love you. I love you, and I'm here for you.
Yeah, he did say all of those things. And yeah, I just want to also say that they actually put Chris Jr. and Lexi, the oldest daughter, in the same box.
Yes.
He said that, listen, the two of you seem to not take responsibility compared to the rest of the kids. So Chris Jr., if we remember when they were sitting at the table, Chris and Lexi, they were sitting right beside each other, and they seem to have a little more camaraderie with each other than the rest of than Lexi had with anybody else at the table. Even Chris Jr. saying to her, let that go, let that go. When it was basically like, I'm trying to protect you. Don't keep that going on. Don't keep that conversation going on. Because in this conversation he's having with his father, he's saying, you guys are too much. I'm always getting picked on, of all the kids in the house. Every single one of y'all have something to say about me and my choices and what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure things out. I may not always make the right decisions or choices, but I feel like you guys come down on me harder than anybody else.
Right.
Really, I need some space to figure things out. He's making bad decisions. Clearly, Chris is saying to him, well, do you think it has anything to do with the choices you're making? Like, do you think we're just supposed to sit, by and watch this shit?
Right. Or your family. We're going to say something. Yeah.
Something. And he says, at this point, he feels helpless. He doesn't have an answer. His brain is not allowing him to think about his responsibility in it. And crying because he's saying, I've been where you are. I know what this is. I know what it looks like. And I need to get you to the other side of this.
Mm-hmm.
Before you think about going out the door at 2 or 3 in the morning, call me. I would rather you call me anytime, day or night. Ask me over to stay with you. I'll do anything. I will drop everything to keep you good because
That was the key. Yeah.
this too shall pass. This is a phase that you are in. I am certain of it. And you will pass this phase, but I can't let harm come to you before you get to the other side.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I heard. But
once again, very stoic kid. I keep calling him a kid. And obviously he's older than 20. So young man, but very stoic face, very like Chris is crying. And this kid he's just looking expressionless, I guess.
Right.
It's probably the best way to describe it.
Chris at the end of this says, I think I need to go to counseling.
Yeah.
So him saying that he needs to go to counseling is a big, again, we get the counseling, the theme.
Right.
Which a lot of people have asked for. Okay. And then we have the last scene, which is Tiffany, Lewis, and Baby Ace. Baby Ace never cries. He has always got
such a cutie.
Just a real even killed tone baby. So love to see Baby Ace. Okay. And yeah, Tiffany has, some laundry that she's doing. She calls her husband into the room and she says that she had a meeting with Kiki that was actually facilitated by Stormy. Lewis laughs at that. He feels like, that Kiki, Stormy, both of them are laughable. I don't even know why you went at this point. But he laughs at the idea that she would sit and meet with them. And it wasn't it wasn't a good time laugh. It was those, they don't mean you any good. So I don't think you should have gone there. That's how he is giving. That's the impression it's giving me. But she's trying to have an adult conversation where she's saying, listen, went there. This is what they said. I don't know how to feel anymore. And really, I feel like this was also like kind of a double talk. But I thought she was saying, I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to trust in this space. I feel like I'm trying to give what I can, but I'm depressed. Having Baby Ace is way more than I thought it could be. We're getting up at 4 a.m. to get makeup on my face and, figure out how to film for the show in the afternoons or in the evenings. And I still have a family that I need to take care of. And then I have to figure out where I am and how to navigate that day, where I am mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and how I'm going to navigate in that space. And I don't feel like I have the support of my coworkers. I definitely don't have the support of the audience.
Yeah.
And Lewis says, I'm just happy you're telling the truth about it, because when you and I try to talk about it at home, you're not even willing to admit you're there. And she says, I can't admit I'm there. I still got a job to do. I got a business to run. I got a house to run. I got a family to take care of. And she's right in the sense that if any mother is out there, you don't have to be depressed. Physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health usually will come second, third, fourth, fifth to whatever you have going on in the house when you have children. So she's saying, with everything that I have going on, I get it. But I just feel like I'm being punished. I'm being punished for being human, for making decisions, for having a family, whatever these things are. And I don't know how to continue anymore. So Lewis says, well, maybe it's time we cut the show. This shit ain't worth it. Not worth it. And she says, okay, I think you're right. I think it's time for me to quit the show.
Yeah.
And she cries a little bit. And she gets up, she takes the baby. And that's pretty much how the scene ends. And then we get another disclaimer. Like I said, the first one had to do with Marceau and him saying that he was depressed and had thoughts of not being here on Earth. But we get this disclaimer following a scene with Chris Jr. and then also with Tiffany. And I have to say, you and I actually said that first go around when she said she had postpartum. We actually said you.
Yes. Where was that disclaimer?
disclaimer.
Yeah, but a lot of people were basically saying it was false. It was, she didn't really have postpartum. I don't know how they could tell.
Right. All right. So we will see what happens next week. Looks like we're going to get some really some more interesting things. It got deep this episode, but we will see what goes on next week. In the meantime, y'all hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, share the video, and let me take this off the screen. Yeah, share the video and talk to us in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this episode and some of the hidden gems that we may not have seen that first go round. And
Right.